Mountain News, first at 4, continues. A tornado watch remains in effect until 8 o'clock tonight for most of the region. For the latest on the severe weather threat, let's check in again with meteorologist Cameron Aaron. Cameron.
Yes, Steve, we are tracking some showers and storms across the region on this Tuesday afternoon. The good news right now, no warnings in effect, but that could change as we go through this evening. So be sure that you have multiple ways to receive warnings just in case. A little bit of good news. We've had plenty of cloud cover this afternoon, also some off and on showers. That does help to kind of limit the instability or the storm fuel in the atmosphere, but still, we are still watching out for the potential for a few strong to severe storms as we go through this evening. Right now, we're zooming into Mount Vernon, pushing into Laurel County for London. Nothing severe, but a few heavier rain pockets are possible. And same story close to Lake Cumberland for Wayne County, moving into McCreary, also in Pulaski County at this hour. And like Steve talked about, we have a tornado watch in place until 8 o'clock this evening, and also a level 3 enhanced risk of severe weather for most of us. A level 4 moderate risk of severe weather is still in place for most of central Kentucky, also from Mount Vernon through Moorhead for those far northwestern counties in our area. And this is all ahead of a strong cold front, and notice multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in western Kentucky pushing into southern Indiana. And that weather system could spark a few more showers and storms in our region later on this evening. More details on that storm threat coming up in just a little bit. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. And a reminder again, you can always stay on top of the severe weather and any alerts by downloading the WYMT weather app. Just scan the QR code there on your screen with your phone's camera and it will take you to where you can download that app. It's free for both Android and iPhone users. The National Weather Service out of Charleston has confirmed an EF1 tornado touchdown in Boyd County this morning. Several areas saw damage up in northeastern Kentucky, including neighboring Lawrence County, but officials there say the storm was less intense than they expected. Louisa firefighters have been out on calls throughout the day, but most of those have been fallen trees. Officials with emergency management say they have been blessed to not have any reported injuries or major concerns so far, just those fallen trees and some minimal damage to a few roofs. They are continuing to monitor the situation and urge folks to stay weather aware. April is National Child Abuse Prevention Month, and Kentucky State Police is working to raise awareness throughout the Commonwealth. KSP Post 10 in Harlan placed blue pinwheels in the yard to serve as symbols for child abuse prevention. Public Affairs Officer Shane Jacobs says he wants the kids in Harlan County to know they are safe around police officers and wants them to be comfortable enough to share things with them.
I want to make sure that every child, when they see me, they know that I'm there for them. I'm going to help them. And if they're having a problem at home or having a situation that's occurring to them, they can approach me and we're going to take care of it. And I'm going to help them and they're safe.
Jacob says it's important that everyone in the community gets involved in helping ensure that children grow up in a safe environment. To learn how you can get involved in your community to prevent child abuse, visit pcaky.org. Funding for the Affordable Connectivity Program is set to end at the end of the month. According to the White House, the program helps more than 23 million Americans save $30 to $75 on their high-speed internet costs each month. The White House calculates that Kentucky has received more than $266 million from the program, or $13.5 million each month. The White House has been asking congressional Republicans to support an extension of the program, but so far their requests have gone unanswered.
You know, the president's been calling for this for 5 months. You know, it's past time, I think, for congressional Republicans to step up and do what they need to do to prevent their constituents' internet costs from increasing. And, you know, we expect them to do that, and we hope that they will do that. You know, the immediate question in front of us is whether Republicans in Congress will agree to extend free and discounted internet to eligible households, or whether they're going to simply shut off support for 23 million families who depend on the program.
Congress returns to Washington next Tuesday. For just the second time ever in the United States, a human has contracted bird flu. Texas health officials say the person had direct exposure to cows that presumably had the virus. A recent outbreak among dairy cows has spread to at least 4 states, with a 5th state reporting a possible case.
This person has a very mild case, just conjunctivitis, which is pink eye. And that's important to emphasize because it's not in the lungs. It's not pneumonia, which would make it easier to transmit from person to person.
While the risk to the general public is low, people in contact with infected animals and those living with an infected person need to be concerned. Infected cows are being isolated, their milk disposed of, and officials say there is no risk to the meat supply because they wait for the animal to recover. By this time next year, Florida could be one of the most lenient states for abortions or one of the strictest. Its high court is letting voters decide which. Two new rulings from the court lay out diverging paths for abortion in the state. One lets a 6-week ban take effect on May 1st. That's before most people even know they're pregnant. The other ruling lets voters override that law by enshrining abortion rights in the state constitution.
This isn't a cut and dry partisan issue. It's healthcare. And people are tired of seeing politicians involved in their healthcare at all. They just want to go to their doctor's office.
Right now, Florida is one of 7 states with bans between 6 and 18 weeks. Voters could override the current law and new one with a ballot measure this November. Just more than a year after the Norfolk Southern train derailment devastated a small Ohio community, a long-awaited rule on train crew requirements has finally been decided. WYMT Washington News Bureau's Stetson Miller tells us why leaders in Washington are saying it will make the rails safer.
The East Palestine train derailment started a huge discussion about rail safety here in Washington, and it included a lot of talk about increasing the size of train crews. Now, a new rule is making that a reality. The Biden administration announced a new rule on Tuesday that requires a second crew member on large freight trains, a change that it says will improve rail safety.
On behalf of the Biden administration, our department is proud to issue this final rule requiring safe crew sizes for every train across America.
The size of train crews has been a big part of the discussions on Capitol Hill about rail safety after the East Palestine train derailment last year. While that train had 3 people on board, the administration is instituting the rule to ensure that railroads don't further cut down staffing on large trains. Rail union leaders like Jeremy Ferguson applauded the change, saying in part, today's ruling codifying the 2-person freight crew not only demonstrates this administration's dedication to the safety of this country and our workforce, but it also shows their respect and acknowledgement of our men and women and the work they do. But the Association of American Railroads said the change would not make trains safer, saying in part, FRA is doubling down on an unfounded and unnecessary regulation that has no proven connection to rail safety. In Washington, I'm Stetson Miller.
Coming up on First at 4, car makers are unveiling more electric models than ever.
Plus, we are watching out for a few showers and storms as we go into this evening as a first alert weather day continues. Your forecast coming up.